In September 2004, the evacuation orders for Hurricane Ivan sent thousands of people fleeing the Florida Keys. Among them were Charlie and Terry Brandt, who drove north to stay with their niece, Michelle Jones, in the quiet community of Maitland. To his neighbors, Charlie was a helpful, quiet radar technician. To Michelle, he was a beloved uncle who made sandwiches for his wife and baked bread for the family. But the normalcy ended days later. When Michelle failed to show up for dinner, a friend went to the house and found it locked from the inside. Looking through the garage window, she saw Charlie's body hanging from the rafters. Inside the house, the scene was even worse. Terry Brandt lay on the living room couch, stabbed 7 times. In the master bedroom, investigators found Michelle's body. She had been decapitated and disemboweled. The condition of Michelle's body stood in stark contrast to the typical chaos of a crime of passion. The precision of the cuts and the systematic removal of her organs suggested a killer with an advanced, technical understanding of human anatomy. To determine if this was an isolated event, investigators traveled 400 miles south to search Charlie's primary residence in the Florida Keys. They found the house meticulously boarded up. Charlie didn't just nail planks to the windows, he cut perfectly round holes into the plywood to allow the exterior doorknobs to pass through exactly. This obsessive attention to detail reflected the mind of a radar specialist, a man who maintained an image of absolute control and technical perfection. Once the police breached the door, they realized the interior of this ordinary home was a repository for a different kind of obsession. Detectives were left to reconcile the image of the helpful neighbor with the physical evidence beginning to pile up behind his perfectly manicured walls. Inside the master bedroom, investigators found a major forensic clue pinned to the closet door. It was a medical anatomy poster showing a bisected woman. The highlighted regions, specifically the chest and leg, directly mirrored the surgical mutilations performed on Michelle. They also found Victoria's Secret catalogs addressed to Charlie. He had used that same brand name as a secret, obsessive nickname for the niece he had just killed. When technicians recovered his wiped computer history, they found a massive archive of digital evidence, searches for necrophilia, female autopsies, and snuff films. These curated physical and digital artifacts suggested that Charlie had been rehearsing the specific murder for years, entirely within the privacy of his own bedroom. Investigators then turned to a small utility room Charlie used for gutting fish. In her diaries, Terry had often noted weird days or emotional times that coincided with Charlie being in this space. In one account, Terry described finding Charlie in this room, covered head to toe in blood, even though there were no fish in the sink. That incident took place around the same time Sheri Perisho, a homeless woman, was found surgically mutilated in a boat just 1,000 feet from the Brandt home. A search of Charlie's truck provided the next link. Technicians found microscopic dog hairs in the vehicle, despite the fact that the Brandts didn't own a pet. Those hairs were an exact match to evidence found on the body of Darlene Toller, a woman discovered wrapped in plastic in Miami in 1995. This line chart reconstructs Charlie's mileage logs, revealing a 100-mile spike on the exact day of Toller's murder. This data, combined with the forensic evidence, proved Charlie Brandt had been an active serial killer for decades. While the forensic evidence connected Charlie to cold cases across Florida, it didn't explain the origins of his behavior. For that, investigators had to look at a part of his life that had been scrubbed from his official records. The story began in 1971 in Fort Wayne, Indiana. At the time, Charlie was 13 years old. On the night of January 3rd, Charlie walked into his parents' bathroom while they were getting ready for bed. He shot his father in the back and shot his pregnant mother 5 times, killing her and the unborn child instantly. Because of his age, he was never tried for murder. He spent 1 year in a psychiatric facility where doctors found no signs of mental illness, and he was subsequently released into the custody of his father. The family moved to Florida and intentionally erased the event. They raised Charlie's younger sisters to believe their mother had died in a car accident, effectively sealing the secret for 30 years. Charlie Brandt remained invisible for 3 decades, aided by a family that meticulously boarded up the truth of his first crimes, and a society that let a killer hide behind a perfectly normal suburban.